Hey everyone, welcome back to the Creator Cafe. I'm joined by Mallory Neil today, and it's actually the 13th episode, so we'll go ahead and dive right in. So, Mallory, do you want to give us a little bit of background about yourself and your photography?
Yeah, so I'm 19. I'm in college for photography. It's my major. I've been doing photography since I was like 14, but this past summer I've got my business license, kind of making it more set in stone. But yeah, it's kind of where we're at.
Well, so I see you're wearing like a shirt of like your photography business, I think.
Yeah.
Nice.
Little logo.
I should make one for like mine too, but
Should. I
that's
literally
cool.
like my cup.
Oh wow, nice. I was gonna make a shirt for Creator Cafe too, but I haven't done that yet.
Definitely
But
should.
anyways, I thought you were older than me for some reason.
I'm only 19.
That's cool. And you said you've been doing it since you were like 14, you mentioned?
Yeah.
Like how did that all begin, like getting into it?
So, whenever I was little, I had like little point and shoot cameras. My parents always liked to give us something that we could like take pictures from like our perspectives. And so I just always liked it. And then I was like, oh man, I want a DSLR. Like, I want to like actually try to do this. And so they got me one for Christmas. And then from there, I've just been kind of like upgrading cameras and lenses. And I've been just kind of going from there.
That's cool. What was your first camera that you got, or first DSLR?
It was a Canon T5. So,
Oh, nice. Yeah, that
yeah,
was my second.
but
Oh no,
yeah.
I had the Rebel T6 or something, but like, oh, the very first one I got was like a power shot, and it had like this insane zoom on it.
Mhm.
It was pretty crazy. Like we just keep changing our gear like throughout the years.
Mhm.
It's like as we improve ourselves and also like our gear does. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, definitely, and, like, I saw somebody say, like, the best camera body you have is the one you have, like, upgrade lenses, obviously, unless your camera, like, stops working, but, like, it's weird how much the collection just grows and grows over time, and then you look back on it and you're like, "Oh, wow, like, I used to only have that lens and that camera."
Even looking back at like old photos too, like what do you feel like when you look at, for instance, like 14-year-old self's photos from like years ago?
Oh my gosh, I've seen, like, pictures that I took on my Instagram, like, from like, sometimes I'll just, like, scroll through my own photography Instagram and
Mhm.
just, like, look at the differences and stuff, and sometimes I'll see pictures of, like, even the people that I'm still friends with, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, they look like babies," but, like, also, like, my photography has just changed so much, and, like, there are things that I look at and I'm like, "That was okay, but, like, why did I do this?" Like, funny as you, like, kinda learn more, it's like, "Oh gosh, that was bad."
Yeah. I used to like really oversaturate like editing
Mhm.
on the colors. I thought it looked cool, but then I look at it now and I'm like, it's too much.
I feel like I did the opposite, like, I feel like all mine were, like, borderline black and white, but not quite. They were all, like, really, really, like, boring and, like, her arm would be, like, cut off, but just her hand, so it would be, like, that and,
Like
like,
half of the arm like this, or
like, when you, like, go out of the frame just by a little bit,
yeah.
it's so awkward, but, like, I didn't know, like, I was just like, "Okay, her face is in the picture, cool," like.
Are those some of the photos you took on your wall?
Yeah, so this is like one of my college projects. We had like a final project, and she wanted us to kind of like do something we weren't used to. So like I'm portraits and sports, that's like my favorite.
Yeah, yeah.
And I decided to do like lay flats of like different tea, and we had to print them. So I still have the prints obviously, and I was like, I'm just gonna put them on my wall.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that you did that. I mean, look how blank mine is.
Yeah, I
I should
most
put like some art or photography on there. So
Yeah, definitely. It's super fun, and, like, the fairy light thing is, like, such an old trend, I feel like, but I was just like, "It's kinda
it's
pretty."
still really cool though, because yeah, or like
Mhm.
even like Christmas lights.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you ever
I
used them like in a shoot? Like putting it up to the lens and stuff.
I've tried that, and, like, I've done it before. I actually took, like, self-portraits at the beginning of quarantine kinda like that, but it's like, I'm like I don't wanna say I'm scared to do that, but, like, it's just I feel like a whole other realm of photography that I haven't gotten into much. all the
You
lighting.
mentioned you do mainly like sports and portraits. Like, what made you pick that field of photography over, let's just say, like landscapes or even like more like lifestyle or editorial? You know?
Yeah, so I just like I said, like, whenever I was younger, I just took pictures of my friends because
Mhm.
that's all I could get in front of my camera and just trying to learn. So, it kind of, like, just ended up continuing from there with portraits, and I take a lot of senior pictures now, which I love. It's super fun, like, getting to meet a bunch of different seniors, but I actually was hurt my junior year of my soccer season. I, like, had surgery on my knee, and
Oh, geez.
the way I made it, like, okay for me to travel to the games was like, "I'll come take pictures." And so, like, that's how I got into sports, and then I photographed for my college, like, soccer team, and then I got an internship with a professional soccer team, so that's been pretty fun.
Geez, you're like slowly like building up, you know, and like moving to new opportunities and things.
That's, like, definitely what I wanna do in the future is, like, I really wanna, like I wish that I could just be, like, the photographer for, like, some huge soccer team. That'd be, like, a dream, and then have,
Yeah,
like,
that'd be really cool.
video.
Or like at the World Cup, you know, that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
I know, like, oh my gosh, like, photographing, like, the Olympics would be
Ooh.
insane. Like, we're hoping to go somewhere somewhere that way. So,
Or imagine, you know, like on the track. Have you seen runners' faces when they're running sprinting track?
yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
because 'cause they're going, like, so fast, and they're just, like,
yeah.
not moving their faces, obviously, 'cause
You would get those shots of that moment, you know, that kind of energy. That'd be
some of the
cool.
pictures I have of people's faces are so funny, like, trying
I,
not to embarrass them, but
I mean, I think it kind of just it captures the moment, you know, of like this is
Mhm.
what was happening at that time and like the intensity and all of that, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes you don't even, like, realize they're making those faces until you, like, take the picture and,
Oh
like
yeah, and look back later.
yeah, just like that, like, it's like, "Oh, okay, cool," like, the shot's, like, a really good shot, like, there's, like, good action happening in the picture, it's sharp, but, like, until you start editing them and you look at their faces, it's kinda fun,
Yeah.
just their emotions and stuff.
Kind of I'm kind of curious because do you feel like you're still able to like tell your own story through your images even though you're capturing like a moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely something that's, like, challenging because it's the story of the game, but, like, you
Mhm.
also wanna I try to do a lot of, like I like the emotion, obviously, with
Right.
the just, like, the specific moments too, even if a picture doesn't show completely, like, how the entire game went, obviously, it happened in the game, and so, like, personally, I just like to try to get, like, how the players are feeling almost
Right.
versus, like, just like, "Oh, he scored a goal." Like, I like the
Mhm.
celebration, stuff like that, just to try to make it more almost personal.
Right.
That ma
I feel like yeah, that is actually I would say like that's like your version of storytelling through your medium, you know? Because
Mhm,
like you said like oh just making a goal, but then you're telling the story of like oh you can feel like the intensity and like you know the anxiety like as he's gonna about to kick it into the goal, you know what I mean? I
mhm.
feel like that's the story, I feel like, you know?
Right, yeah, and, like,
Would you
it's not
say the same?
the score line of the game, it's like how like, "Oh, this guy scored his first professional goal," and the whole, like, team is, like, super excited, and it's not even about, like, taking the picture of him shooting the goal, it's, like, the reactions after
Right.
almost. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah,
it's super
that's really cool.
Mhm.
And then I know aside from sports, you even have like your own model team for the portraits, right?
Yeah, so
Like how
I
did that happen?
Oh, so that was part of me, like, just experimenting, taking portraits with my friends when I was younger. It's been oh, man, let me think. I think, like, 4 years that I've had a model team, and
Wow, that's a while.
yeah, and it literally started as, like, 5 friends that I was like, "Hey, guys, can I just, like, have you guys on, like, standby if I need to try something?" Or and they were like, "Yeah, sure," and now it's, like, 13 girls who are, mostly seniors, but some of them are underclassmen, and it's, like, planned shoots, which is really fun, and I feel like it's a really good way to try to, like, get them to get friends from different schools, and, like, a lot of them gain a
Oh,
lot
they're
of
all from
confidence.
different schools as well?
Yeah, so, like, I in my area, there's, like, 3 bigger schools and then a couple smaller schools, and some girls the one girl lives, like, an hour and a half away from me, but she travels to shoots, which is really fun. Kinda getting different girls from different areas is super fun.
That's kind of cool that you bring them together because I remember you were putting like behind the scenes of like a huge group shoot that you did.
Mhm.
Kind of reminds me just like what we do with MPS, like that whole aspect of like community, and interacting with like-minded people, I guess.
Yeah, for sure, and, like, I mean, to this point, the team has only been girls because like, I've never had, um, much guy interest, plus, like, sometimes if we'll, like certain shoots, like, for them to be changing or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, it's so cool to see them, like, the first shoot, they're always like, "Hi," and then, like, by the end, they're like, "Hey, you're, like, my best friend, like, how's it going?" And it's just, like, super fun to, like,
Yeah.
see them all, like, become friends and kinda be able to, like, experience that together.
What would be crazy if like, like decade later, decades, multiple decades, like they're still like best friends or something, like years later. Like that
Yeah,
would be really rewarding, I feel like.
mhm. The one girl I was like she's a freshman, and she's the only freshman on my model team, and I was like, "It'd be so fun if, like, from, like, years from now, I ended up, like, photographing your wedding." Like, you're a freshman on
Wow,
my
wow, imagine that.
yeah, like, that'd be so cool,
Wow.
like, to photograph one of the girls that was on my model team's weddings or something.
Wow. What are your thoughts about legacy? Like you're creating all these photos and moments, and then do you ever think about long term, like what that might lead to?
I honestly that's something that I kind of, like I try to think about it, like, a little bit, but honestly, I just try to, like, make the most of it while like, in the moment kind of thing, and that's, like, a genuine, like, crazy thing to think about, like, in my brain, I love this and, like, I love taking their pictures, but it doesn't even, like, click to me that sometimes I could be making, like, a big impact on someone, because like, I just do what I like and, like, I like to take the pictures, but seeing people really, like, say stuff like, "Wow, I didn't really, like, know I could look that good in a picture," like, "I really love that picture of me," that's, like, so rewarding, and, like, I
Yeah.
just hope that they can, like, look back on those pictures years from now and just remember, like, feeling super happy about them and, like, loving them still.
What I like about you, what you said is, like you're just doing it, not thinking like what it might lead to later, like for yourself or whatever, like you're just in the moment and like you're not in it for like personal gain. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Mhm.
if something later happens that's like, whoa, I imagine that. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know how to, I don't think I'm wording this properly.
No, I totally get it. I had a like, Inspiring Teens magazine, they feature, like, photography, but mainly, like, teenagers in their magazine who have, like, done, like, inspiring things, and I've been in it, like, personally just for, like, my business, but I also have had, like I nominate my model team girls. Like, if someone's, like, really doing great and, like, I can tell that they're putting, like, so much work into all these things or, like, even just not even my model team, but, like, people I shoot with, I'll nominate them for the magazine, and I had a girl, like, make a, like, huge spread in it, and I was just, like, so proud of her because like, her accomplishments are getting recognized, but just, like, assisted by my photography, so it was fun.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Mhm. I really
Wow,
like to
there's
do
so
that.
much more to it than like, like just when you think about, doing like a senior shoot or like a sports event shoot, I guess most people just think like, oh, just getting that shot like in that time, but there's just so much that could happen afterwards, even with like the players or like the individuals that got their photos taken, just
Yeah. 'Cause I mean, like, those soccer players don't always, like, stay on the same team for forever, and, like,
mhm.
there's a possibility that they never see some of those players that they played with again. So, like, the celebration pictures of them, like, celebrating with a friend on the team or, like it's just crazy to think about, like, down the road how those memories will, like, still be there just because, like,
Yeah.
I
Do you think, other creators, like different types, not even just us as like photographers, but like, do you think creators should focus on like creating like more in the moment kind of um, aspects and not think so much about like what could this lead to like in the future, but more just focusing in the moment, I guess.
I think, like I mean, obviously, you want a little bit of a combination of both because, like, you can always be setting goals for yourself.
Right.
I think that personally, I just really like to make it a special, like, memory for them, and I think in general, like, especially, like, concerts and stuff, like, artists who are producing music and performing, it's a really in the moment thing because, like, yeah, you can watch the concert, like, later on, like,
Yeah.
TV, such an experience, and that's what I really wanna, like, continue to do is just make an experience to remember.
Come on. I need to. I'm just thinking how crazy it is because for me, I think at least lately I've been thinking a lot about just the future, like really only solely like what's coming next, And I
Mhm.
think just hearing from you right now, just it seems so much more, I guess, refreshing to hear more about like living in the moment and, really thinking about the present a little bit more and having like you mentioned like having a little bit more of a balance.
Yeah, like, personally, I am, like, a major perfectionist, and, like, I definitely, like I don't wanna say, like, worry about my future, but I definitely, like, think about it and, like, wonder where I'm actually gonna end up, and, like, I'm really hoping that I, like, make, like, the goals that I want come true, but the other part of it for me is, like, I don't wanna spend time now worrying about it when I still have, like, college to get through and stuff, and I'm gonna work hard for it now to, like, set myself up for the future, but, like, just enjoying the stuff that I'm doing now is, like, super important because I also don't wanna look back on it and think, like, "Oh, wow, I was really, like, bored, like, I really didn't like what I was doing." You know what I mean? Like, I just wanna
Hmm.
always, like, be happy with the work I'm doing, no matter,
Right.
like, where I'm at in the process of getting to where I wanna be.
Yeah, and especially like in the future when you do reach that point that you've been thinking about for the past like what decade or so, and then you look back on those 10 years. But then when you look back, you only see where you are like right now, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's all you were thinking about. So yeah, I guess for myself even I just need to work on, taking more just thinking more about, what am I doing right now and like putting a
Mhm.
little bit more focus on that too.
Yeah, and honestly, like, with me studying abroad in the spring, I've been really trying to just, like, focus on the fall semester and, like, my fall clients and, like, all the seniors now because
Mhm.
I know I'm not gonna be here in the spring. And I think, like, I'm trying to not get ahead of myself by, like, being like, "Oh, I'm gonna go shoot, like, a landscape, I'm like, all of this stuff in the spring," and, like, getting super, like I'm trying to almost not get excited about it in a way,
Oh,
because I want
interesting.
to, like, still
Huh.
be excited about what I'm doing here, and I don't wanna, like, make myself feel like here isn't special, if that makes sense.
Right.
So, it's just, like, trying to find a good balance, and I think honestly, like, quarantine and COVID really made me feel that way, because like, I almost stopped, like I don't wanna say I stopped looking forward to everything because that sounds, like, really, really harsh, but things were getting canceled, and I was like, "Okay, well, if this is gonna get canceled and, like, I'm not gonna have, like, vacations or stuff to look forward to, I'm just gonna have to be, like, happy with what I have here." So, kind of in that sense too.
Just basically like the gratitude, aspect of it.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep that in mind. I guess switching topics now. Do you do any other creative passions aside from photography?
So, I I like art a lot, like, just in general, like, I like to just, like, have, like, a painting day or, like, a drawing day or just, like, doing something
And that's
creative
nice.
like that. Like, it's super just fun for me to kind of, like, relax almost and do that.
Hmm.
Um, but, like, as a serious hobby, photography is, like, pretty much the only thing that I really, really focus on, I would say. I do like try to do some film photography too, but
Oh, that's
I'm not
cool.
brave enough to do that for like a full session because if I would like lose the rolls of film or something, it would feel so bad. Like if something would just not turn out because film's so tricky.
Yeah, especially if it was just say like, like a wedding, and
Oh,
that's like a one-time moment.
I have no idea how like all of these people before digital cameras photographed weddings on film.
Mm,
Like I do like film classes for school and I've had like a whole session not work out right and like I messed it up when I was developing film and I was like so upset about it because we used like fresh flowers and like I
oh,
threw them away when we were done and because like we cut them and stuff so they weren't. And I was just like, oh my gosh, now I'm gonna like have to go buy more flowers, go buy more film, like do her makeup again, do her hair again, reshoot this. And like obviously you can't do that for a wedding. You can't just be like, okay, let's redo your wedding. So yeah, that'd be hard.
have you ever done any wedding shoots?
I've done my aunt's wedding a while ago. And then this summer my boyfriend's cousin got married and she let me just basically like shoot whatever I wanted, which was really good like portfolio building for me. And I
That's
actually
cool.
have weddings booked next summer, so that's cool. I'm looking
Nice.
forward to that. Yeah.
I guess that's an example of like networking right there, like because your boyfriend, wait, what cousin? Sorry, the cousin,
My
sister,
boyfriend's cousin. My
cousin.
boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so that got you, exposure to like that like aspect of photography, and then now you have like other clients as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's like photography is one of those things that it's just like word of mouth and like just getting in where you can and like obviously I didn't get paid to just like shoot whatever I wanted at her wedding and I didn't expect to, but it was
Mhm.
just nice to be able to like mess around with the shots that I wanted to get without the pressure so I could kind of learn
Yeah,
without being like, okay, well, I need to get this shot or like I obviously
like you
she
had the
hired
creative
a
freedom.
photographer and yeah, so I just had the creative freedom to like photograph what I wanted and it didn't really matter if I missed something because like there was a photographer and her second shooter there too, so I was like the third photographer almost. So I just got to shoot what I wanted, but it was super fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. Have you taken like more like lifestyle or like travel kind of photos before?
So that's something I don't want to say I'm scared of it because like I've just never really super done it a lot and I'm honestly like looking to do that more when I go to Italy because I don't know anyone else who's going with me. Like none of the people that I know are going and so I'm going to get on like a group flight in January and meet the people when I'm sitting on the flight for them with them for the first time. So it's I'm going to try to do a lot more of like city in Italy and like just landscapes in general and hopefully I want to do like more like street life kind of like just people walking around in Italy and like because it's such a different like culture even there
Mhm.
and so I just want to make sure like I document that so but
That's
to this
true.
point not much.
I mean, you're gonna get the opportunity soon.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes and this is where I'm like really trying to like change my attitude on it is like I feel like where I'm at isn't like special enough to photograph sometimes.
What do
Like
you mean?
I'm not in my city like I'm not in Pittsburgh right now because I'm online for college. So my little like small hometown, sometimes it's like, well, what do I even take pictures of here? Like city wise, landscape wise. So it's because I'm used to it. Like I'm used to like what it looks like here. And so I'm like, oh, but that's like kind of boring. But then I have to like realize that other people aren't used to it. So it might
Right.
be cool for them to look at. But that's like honestly my biggest struggle with like landscape photography in general is just like what can I take a picture of and like how can I frame it that'll actually be interesting in a way.
Yeah, I feel that too sometimes.
Because like I see all these like other photographers and they're like landscape just isn't something that I've been doing for a while, but they're like doing these like incredible like city shots and like even in like little small fields and stuff. but they get such a cool perspective and they edit it and make it look so cool and the lighting's just so like perfect. So really just trying to like discover that more honestly, and I think Italy will be a really good like help with angles and just like things like that.
Yeah, I agree. And then I guess it comes down to like, just testing different perspectives, and like messing around with it yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, I had a college professor tell me, like well, tell the whole class, but it really hit me. She was like, "Try to think of an angle that someone wouldn't normally just see this at. Like, don't just take it, like, standing up, like, here, like, get a low angle, like, shoot through something weird, like, get a high angle. Just try to, like, shoot from a perspective that isn't just our daily walking around perspective."
How do you handle that like when you're in like a shoot, because sometimes like I keep that in my mind like, oh, I want to get a unique shot that nobody has taken.
Mhm.
But then I'm like, oh wait, how do I do that? Like when I'm actually shooting.
Ye Yeah, I understand that, and I think too, like, sometimes when you have, like, models in front of your camera, you're like, "Okay, like, I gotta pose them," or, like, "I gotta get, like, the shots that are good," or, like so you feel almost, like, scared to, like, try something, but
Mhm.
I think, honestly, my model team really helped me with that because I just take pictures of them all the time, and I'm like, "Okay, let's try something new," and it gives me, like, the space to do it, and if it doesn't work, it's not, like, horrible because, it's just kind of like a trial to see what we like. And then I think from there, like, just really trying to get like a creative shot. Also, like, trying to show the person's personality. Like, if you're photographing, obviously, a person, just trying to get more of like something that's unique to them in the pictures. But I totally like understand with trying to make a different, like, unique shot, especially in, like, somewhere that's, like, photographed often or, like, just trying to find a new angle, sometimes that can be really challenging.
It kind of just made me think like you have shots in your head sometimes of like, ooh, this will look really cool, but it's in your head, right? And
Mhm.
even for like artists like they or like even like developers, like they have an idea, that seems really cool, but then when you actually go to make it and it's like, oh, maybe not. Do
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have
so
those?
I have definitely had those, and, like, I'll give a little example of that. The other day, I had a girl, like, throw leaves in her picture, and I was just like I saw this, like, picture in my head, and I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be perfect," and just, like, where we threw them for the first time just, like, didn't work. There was too much, like, color in the background that distracted from the leaves, and the leaves were kinda brown, and it was just like, "Okay, look, we're gonna just go over to a different spot that's not as, like, colorful in the background and, like, try to get this shot to work," but I definitely have had that in my head, and then I'm like, "Oh, wait, like, that's not really what I wanted to do."
And I think that, in like after those moments, for creators to not like get so hard on themselves of like, oh, why did that turn out so well as I thought, more see
Mhm.
it as just like a testing phase or like just an opportunity to like learn more.
Yeah, and I think that's, like, such a good thing to do, and sometimes I feel like people just, like, are like, "Oh, no, my client's gonna, like, hate me because
Yes.
that shot didn't work out the way I wanted it to." But I think another thing about that is just, like, you have to learn, you always have to grow, like, and things cannot work out perfectly, but it's, like, what you take from it that really matters, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you can't be like, "Oh, I'm the worst photographer ever because I missed that shot." Like, you just gotta think
Like
why.
you take one bad shot and then like move on to the next one. Maybe that will be good. Maybe it'll be bad again. Then you just move on to the next one.
Mhm. Yeah, and, like, eventually you'll find that consistency because like, you'll be like, "Oh, I tried that before, it was bad, so let's not do that." But, yeah, you gotta kinda, like, experiment with it, though, if to try to learn.
All right. Do you want to show off the edits that we made?
Yes, I'm excited to see yours.
I actually had to look at them because like I had to download them, to my computer, so I did have to open the emails. But yeah, we'll get to that. But anyways, I'm just gonna tell everyone that we are doing a challenge. We haven't had a challenge in a short while. The last one I think was with Christian with the game developing one, but Yeah, so we edited the same photos and I asked some people on Instagram if they want to send any photos, and we got a few from them and also some of Mallory's own photos to edit. And we just wanted to see like differences in style, and we'll talk about like what went into editing each one. So I'll go ahead and bring those up. All right, so here we have a couple of Mallory's photos that she took, and then we both edited them. Real quick, before anyone and before we tell everyone, which one do you think is mine and which one do you think is hers? Unfortunately, if you're listening to the podcast version of Creative Cafe, you won't be able to see them. So I'd recommend going on YouTube to see the photos that we edited. So Mallory, yours is the one on the right, and then mine's the one on the left.
Mhm.
Wow,
Those are
yeah, we have color tones and everything.
yeah.
You want to talk about yours, like what went into that?
So with this is one of my models, Brooklyn. Um, this okay, so this hat is a new hat that I ordered, and we were like, all right, let's just try it. Let's just see how it looks. So my goal was to try to just kind of keep the colors like very like the way they were kind of, and I wanted to kind of like make it feel like the end of summer, beginning of fall kind of vibe, and I like to try to like keep my colors pretty true to how I shoot them. But yeah, I think that I like yours too though. I like this. This is fun.
I really like it. I don't know. Yours seems like I really like the brightness of yours. I should have like raised the exposure, I feel like, on mine a little bit.
See, I feel like I like them both for like different reasons. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I cropped mine in a little bit closer,
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just
obviously,
noticed
like
that. Yeah.
just a tiny, tiny bit. But oh my gosh, it's just okay. So I like literally love whenever multiple people edit the same picture
Yeah.
because I'll
That's
look at
cool.
mine and I'll like be like, okay, I really like the way I edited that, but just like seeing someone else's like perspective of it is just like that's awesome. Like I really like
Oh, you
yours.
really brought out her eyes, I feel like. Or at least
Yeah,
so did mine just end up more bronze, I guess.
I tried to kind of like pull the blue tones because there aren't very many blues
Hmm.
like in general in the photo, and I really wanted to try to get them to like pop against the oranges in the picture. So I just kind of like I didn't add like artificial color to her eyes, but I brightened them a little bit.
Okay. Nice. I guess I'll talk about mine now. So yeah, I usually like messing around with like the tones of like a sunrise, which are usually like a kind of teal blue and like kind of a lighter orange, I guess. And that ends up making my greens pretty like a bronze color.
Yeah,
And I guess mine is more like muted in comparison, I feel like, in terms of like the lighting.
genuinely, I used to struggle with like letting myself almost have green in my pictures because I used to be like, "Oh my gosh, green's just like not a flattering color." And so I would take my like green saturation and go way down. And I've just been like trying to make, like I said before, trying to like keep that color in them now, challenging myself a little bit with keeping the greens. And like I think that taking the greens out like looks so good on yours. Like, I think your
Thanks.
colors are really cool. I really like the tone. Like,
I like change the hue of the green and make it more like orange.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's super cool. I
Well, you
wouldn't
know what's
have like
interesting?
honestly thought to do that. Like, what'd you say?
Because you mentioned that yours was like a end of summer kind of vibe, right?
Hmm.
And then mine looks more like fall. It's interesting. Like this could be like a summer photo, like with it's more like a sun hat, kind of like flowy clothing for like like summer weather.
Yeah,
And then I kind of turned it into like a more fall feeling, I guess.
yeah. And I think totally like that's so cool to see. Just because like I think this was taken like the very beginning of October, so it was still pretty like sunny and bright
Yeah.
out. And just like the differences between the tones that we pulled in them are super cool.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the next photo. I just realized we have like 5 photos total, so
Yeah, yeah,
go
yeah.
a little bit faster now. Ooh, at first I thought I was looking at the blur around it. I thought you had a Petsball lens at first because it's
I
almost a little bit more of a spiral.
it
You
was
can-
It was just like my Canon 50 millimeter lens.
Oh, okay.
I always felt like with my 50, I had to get, like, further away than I wanted to sometimes,
Right.
get, like,
Yeah,
full
that's
body
why
shot.
I got one.
Yeah, and then I think, like, that's gonna be a lens I use a lot when I travel.
It's interesting. Look, I usually turn down all my highlights quite a bit on my photos because I just see like the contrast on the what is this? The grass? Do you call this grass?
It's yeah, it's some sort of grass. I don't know exactly what it is. I actually really, really like the colors in yours, though.
Here we have I had this sent in from L'Oreal. She has a brand called Made for Everybody, and she makes these stickers with like these puns on them, like work of art. And then she has one like um I got what you need, and it has like the bone of a knee on it, and like it's going tibia, like the tib. What is the tibia? Is that on your arm? I think.
Your leg, it's like
Oh,
your shin.
it's
You're okay.
going tibia a good day, you know. So they're really punny, and that's what I really like about them. Anyways, yeah, she sent this in. Well, we have like it's the colors again. The colors are the first thing that gets me quite a
Mhm.
bit. And then I actually put like a radial gradient over the sticker, and then I made the whites pop a little bit more, and then I turned down the blacks a little bit.
Yeah, I like how you did that because I think mine are a little bit my black's a little bit bright.
I like the sky in yours though. I feel like mine's a little bit kind of oversaturated.
I liked this picture to edit, like, it was a little different for me to do
Mhm.
than my,
Like a
like, normal.
product shot, you know, like
Yeah, yeah. I think, like, the picture itself was just good too. Like,
mhm,
whenever I saw it, I was like, "It looks like a good product shot." Like, you don't wanna make them too crazy edited one way or the other to make them
right.
look not the same product anymore. But I really like the way you did the blacks in yours, honestly.
This one was sent in from Jared. I'll put his Instagram as well on the screen and in the description. Same with L'Oreal's as well. So he sent this in. Wow, yeah, look at the difference in like you have like really bright like gold almost, you know,
Mhm.
colors, and then I went for like the muted kind of sun. Can you feel my sunrise now? And
Yeah, yeah. Kinda funny because, like, I feel like yours were warmer, like, the last set, and, like, mine are a little bit, like, warmer in a different way this set.
yeah, you really brought out the orange too, like in her pants too, and the brightness.
Yeah, that's the thing that I've been, like, a major, like, sucker for is just, like, the oranges. And now, honestly, looking at this, I think I would probably take my blacks down a little bit because it's looking a little blue.
Well, I really like how you kind of brought out like the features of her face as well. Like same with like, back on the photo that you took too.
Mhm. That's what something I've been trying to do, like, recently is just, like, really bring out faces. Had a lot of fun with that.
You can really tell like ooh, you went for the crop on yours, I see.
Yeah, I cropped it in a little bit.
I
Yeah.
was thinking about that. Ah, yeah, I think I did on the previous one. Yeah, I did a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
You really brought her more into focus, you know, as like the subject.
Yeah, like, wanted to kinda get I like the little, like, roll of thirds, like, little chart and when I'm cropping, and I
Oh,
try to
the squares, the grid.
yeah, yeah. I like to try to, like, bring their eyes on, like, one of the lines, whether it
Okay,
be, like
nice.
so try to it's just something that I've liked to do, not really for any particular reason or another.
Yeah, I think that's really cool just to see, you know, like same photo but whole different perspective on like what to, you know, emphasize on or like bring out, you know, or what kind of colors we want to use.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think, like I said, it's just one of those things where it's not that like one of ours is like good and one of ours is bad or like anything like that. It's just like our different perspectives and what caught our attention and what we wanted to pull from them.
Yeah, and like what kind of, I guess what kind of story we want to tell, you know, through our
Hmm.
edits.
Yeah. What kind of vibe, for like lack
Yeah.
of a better word, honestly.
Well, Mallory, do you have any last tips or pointers or points that you want to make for everyone listening?
I think just like the general thing of like if you want to go for it, just go for it and keep learning and keep pushing yourself.
I think that's a good point to leave off on. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning in today's episode of Critter Cafe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.